What's up, cool kids? John here from What's Johnny Watching. Now, I've noticed that a lot of people are starting to put out lists, their favorite lists, like favorite soundtracks, favorite directors, actors, and so on and so forth. So I decided to hop on this little trend, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I sat down and came up with an idea of what are some of my favorite songs that were used in films during the 1980s. Well, once I'd finished my list and looking over all the paperwork and stuff, I realized I had like 150 songs. And it's just, there's no way I could have been able to put it all in one short little video. It would have just taken like 2 hours. So I wanted to cut it down. So I made this criteria where in order for it to be put on this list, it had to meet three certain areas, had to fall into those areas. And what I eventually ended up with, I ended up with 25 of my favorite songs that were used in the films during the 1980s. And the criteria that I used it's fairly simple. The first thing is that the song in question had to be written and produced for that film specifically. Like, you couldn't have a movie that was released in 1983 and use a song that was made in 1978 and say this is the theme for this film. It doesn't work. No, I didn't use that. Another thing was that I didn't want to use more than one song from an artist. Prince had some, various songs from films in that decade, Kenny Loggins and Phil Collins. No, I decided just to have one song, one artist, and that was it. That also helped cut down the list some. But the third point, or the third criteria that needed to be met was there had to have been at least a music video made. And the reason for that is I grew up in the 80s and the early part of the 90s where we didn't have the internet, available to us. So the only way that we could really get some information about these films was either going to the theater and seeing a trailer for it or seeing a music video that was put out on MTV. Now, MTV in the 80s, they had a lot of music videos with tie-ins to movies. So I used that. I wanted to make sure that each one of these films, at least one of these songs, at least had a music video out. So that cut down the list even more. And what I was left with was 25 plus a couple of honorable mentions. So before I get into my honorable mentions and my list, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and click that notification bell. I've got a lot more of these things I want to put out, and I'm sure you guys will want to check them out. So without further ado, here are my honorable mentions. And before I do all that, I've got them all like written down and stuff. So I will be looking over to make sure that I get them right. So, for my honorable mentions, I am going with first, from 1981, it's Endless Love from Diana Ross and Lionel Richie from the film Endless Love. This is an absolutely beautiful song. I love this song, but, it didn't make the list because I couldn't find a music video for it that was released around the time it was made. So again, it's a great song. It's been covered a whole bunch of times. People use it at their weddings, but it just wasn't enough to make my list. So my second one I have on there is from the Southern rock group 38 Special, and it's called Teacher, Teacher from the 1984 film Teachers, which starred Nick Nolte and Morgan Freeman, Jo Beth Williams. My dad was a huge fan of 38 Special. He would always have their vinyl and their cassette tapes, and I would just listen to them a lot. And I latched onto this song because it was a really great rock song. And I listened to it over, and I'm like, I like this. And then I found out it was from an actual movie, and I loved it even more. But it's not my favorite 38 Special song, from a movie, but again, I only want to have one artist with one song, so it didn't make the list. My next one is Dan Hartman and his I Can Dream About You from 1984's Streets of Fire. Now, this song, it's got a music video, but I did not know it came from a film. I knew nothing about Streets of Fire. I mean, it's a great song, but I knew nothing about it. I just thought, it was just a regular old track from some kind of, that he released. I didn't know it came from Streets of Fire. I mean, it's a great song, but I identify Dan Hartman more with Fletch than I do with Streets of Fire. So, again, didn't make the list. My next one, I'm going to catch a lot of hell for this, but it's, again, these are my favorites, and this is not my particular favorite of his, but it's from 1984. It's Prince, and it's the title track from his film Purple Rain. I just thought it was just another track. I had no idea that this was a film. Again, it was 1984. I didn't know. So it's still a great song. I love that song, but again, it's not my favorite Prince song from a film. So yeah, it was left off. And another one from 1985 is Phil Collins and Marilyn Martin with Separate Lives from the film White Nights. This is an amazing song with Phil and Marilyn. Just when I saw the video, they're in the video. If you've seen it, they're in like a ballet studio, and it feels like they're actually on set with Gregory Hines and Mikhail Baryshnikov, because they're both dancers. It's just an amazing song. It was nominated for an Academy Award, but again, I've got another Phil Collins song on this list, so this one didn't make the cut. And as for my last one, it's from Bryan Ferry, released in 1986. It's called Help Me, from the film The Fly. This song was only used in the movie for like 2 minutes, and it was supposed to have been added to the film like as the credits are rolling up, but Cronenberg and everybody at Brooks Film, they decided it really didn't fit with the ending of the film. And I agree, Howard Shore's score is absolutely amazing, and it didn't fit it. But I still like the song, and I like the video. It's just really great. It's shot in black and white, and it's just an overall great song. But didn't make the list. So those are my honorable mentions, and now let's get into the list. For this list, I'll break it down like this. I'm just going to give you the year and the song, and just go straight forward down from there. There's no, this is my number one, this is my 15th. No, none of that. Just one, I'm from 1980 to 1989, and here they are. Starting with 1980, it's Dolly Parton, 9 to 5 from 9 to 5. I mean, everybody knows this song. From the very beginning of it, you know what the song is going to be. It is a great, happy song. I love it. And, I mean, come on, it's Dolly Parton. How could you hate Dolly Parton? Dolly Parton's gangsta. And moving on from Dolly Parton, in 1981, one of my favorites is Christopher Cross's Arthur's Theme, The Best That You Can Do, from the movie Arthur. Christopher Cross did win an Academy Award for this. He and I think Burt Bacharach, I think they both shared it. There may have been someone else who shared it with them. But this is a great song. I absolutely love it. It fits the movie so well. With the way the piano playing in it is just amazing. And I love, this is my favorite Christopher Cross song. I'll mention that kind of phrase a lot during this. But even later, he did a live performance where he sang the song and had Dudley Moore accompany him on the piano. It was just great. I loved it. Now, for 1982, I really didn't have anything. But for 1983 kicks us off with Eye of the Tiger by Survivor from Rocky III. Again, what else needs to be said about this song? From the very beginning of it, you know what this song is. It's going to pump you up. It pumps me up. I love it. Yeah, they used it a little bit more than they should have in, the other Rocky films. But again, I love this song. It was also nominated for an Academy Award. So I really like Survivor song. And my last one for 1983, it's Lindsey Buckingham's Holiday Road from National Lampoon's Vacation. I mean, again, what else needs to be said about it? It is an amazing song. I love it to this day. When me and my wife go on a little road trip, that song's one of the ones that gets played as soon as we hit the interstate, and it's cranked up. That, and we listen to Rascal Flatts' Life is a Highway. It's just amazing. And I guarantee you, anytime you take a road trip, that song is going through your head. Now, 1984 gives us Ghostbusters. Ray Parker Jr. from the film Ghostbusters. And yet another Academy Award nominated song. This song, everybody likes this song, with the exception of Huey Lewis, but oh well, who cares? But it's a great song. Again, as soon as it opens, you know what it is. And they include it with the Ghostbusters 2 and that 2016 mistake, and up to Ghostbusters Afterlife, they still include that song. That song is pop culture gold. Everybody loves it. And my second song from 1984 that I really like is Phil Collins' Against All Odds, Take a Look at Me Now, from the film Against All Odds. This is my favorite Phil Collins song from a movie. And I mean, he's done a lot of them with Tarzan and with Buster and all that, but this one's my favorite. And when you watch the movie at the very end, you see Rachel Ward staring at Jeff Bridges as the credits are rolling up and the song's playing. You can just see the heartbreak in her eyes. It's an amazing song. Now, to this day, I don't know why they gave Stevie Wonder the Academy Award, but for me, it was either going to be it should have been Ghostbusters or Against All Odds, either one. Now, for 1985, we have Huey Lewis in the News, The Power of Love from Back to the Future. Yes, that same Huey Lewis who sued Ray Parker Jr. was nominated for an Academy Award for this song, and what a great song it is. I mean, again, from the very beginning, you know what this song is, and you love it. And when they released Back to the Future on 4K, and when that scene came up in that movie, I immediately cranked up my Atmos, and I was just blasting it throughout the house. My wife told me to turn that shit off, but I don't care. I still like it. From Huey Lewis, we go to the Queen of Pop, which is Madonna, with her song Crazy for You from the film Vision Quest. Now, this song is probably in the top 3 to 4 of my favorite Madonna songs. I absolutely love it. When I first saw the video for it, it's like she's singing in a bar. And then when I saw the movie, it's essentially she's singing in a bar. And I'm like, did they just use footage from this and that was the video? But still, it's a great song. I think this one's probably number 2 for me, but I love this song. It's great. And I think they used it in an episode of Glow. It's season 2 or season 3. It's a great song. And 1985 also gave us We Don't Need Another Hero from the late, great Tina Turner for the film Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Again, it's Tina Turner. We all love Tina Turner. We miss her dearly. But this is an amazing song for a great movie. She truly was the hardest working woman in show business. And there was no way I was going to have a list like this without having one of her songs on it. Absolutely wonderful song. And continuing with 1985, I have Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me from The Breakfast Club. This is my favorite John Hughes film, and this is my favorite song from a John Hughes film. I know that believe Billy Idol was supposed to have recorded the song, but he turned it down, and then Simple Minds did it, and they really didn't like the song, but they kind of grew to appreciate it. It's a great song, and every time you hear it, you just want to stick your fist up in the air like Bender does. It's a great song. I absolutely love it. And to close out 1985, I have a weird one, but it's Stephanie Mills, Bit by Bit, the theme from Fletch. Fletch is my favorite Chevy Chase movie. Chevy Chase has gone on record saying that that was his most favorite role. And I love this song. Even from the very beginning of it, and they played at the very beginning, you see the Universal logo, and then to the very end, when they're walking on the beach and the credits are rolling up, it's that song. It's that amazing song. And I know Dan Harmon had one song for that soundtrack, but this song is what made that soundtrack to me. I love this song. Now, rolling on to 1986, I have another strange one, and it's Rod Stewart's Love Touch from the film Legal Eagles. Now, this song really wasn't, I don't want to say marketed for that film. I mean, it's a great song. Rod Stewart, the music video with Rod Stewart, singing like he's in a courtroom, singing to a lawyer and a jury and everything, which sets up kind of, the mood of the film, because the film is about, two attorneys trying to get Daryl Hannah off a murder charge. But, Rod, as of late, really doesn't like singing that song in public because the whole love touch thing. And it was marketed as, the theme from Legal Eagles, but it wasn't released on the soundtrack. But I still love it. And then we had, the next one I have is Somewhere Out There with James Ingram and Linda Ronstadt from the film An American Tail. This is an absolutely wonderful song. I love this song. It won the Academy Award, as it should have. And just from watching the video, you see Linda and James, they're both illustrators. They're drawing the characters from the film. Then they take a break and they walk over to this big skylight and they're singing to the moon like Fievel did in the film. It's a great song. I absolutely love it. My next one from 1986 is Eric Clapton's It's in the Way That You Use It from the film The Color of Money. Now, Eric has had a lot of songs, a lot of great songs, but he really didn't do that many, soundtrack titles, tracks to go on soundtracks. Well, this one came around and, I believe he did it for Martin Scorsese's sequel to The Hustler. And it's just a great song. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite one, or one of my favorites that he's ever done for a soundtrack. Just the guitar playing in it, the riffs. They even used the song in an episode of Community, because I think Dan Harmon really loves that song. It's a great track. Another one from 1986 is Orchestral Moves in the Dark, If You Leave from Pretty in Pink. Now, not talking really about the movie itself, because I have my own things about that film. It never should have ended the way that it did. But this is the number two song from a John Hughes film that I love the most. The video, it really doesn't show that much like clips from the film, but I mean, you do see the pictures of the actors, the actress in it. It's a great song, and I remember it was everywhere when it came out. I really like it. It's a great song. Now, moving on to 1987, and we're going to kick it off with probably the number one song of the year. That was I've Had the Time of My Life from Bill Medley and Jennifer Warnes from the film Dirty Dancing. Everybody heard this song. Everybody knows what this song is from, and it is a great song. It won the Academy Award. And whenever you hear it, I mean, you're wanting to move like Patrick Swayze does in the movie and dance and everything. It's just a great song. I really like it. Now, from Dirty Dancing, I'm going to move on to Bob Seger and Shakedown from Beverly Hills Cop 2. Aside from I've Had the Time of My Life, Shakedown was the song I heard the most in 1987. I had never really been exposed to a lot of Bob Seger's work, but this was the first time I had seen him sing a song for a movie that I was really excited about. And, that movie was the number one movie of the summer. It was everywhere. It was a blockbuster hit. And that song was nominated for an Academy Award. I wished it would have won, but I'm not going to argue. I've Had the Time of My Life was great. So was Shakedown, and I love it. Another one is 38 Special, Back to Paradise from Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise. This is my favorite 38 Special song out of their entire library. This is my favorite song. I literally wore my dad's tape out of this particular song. I just kept rewinding it and listening to it, rewinding it and listening to it. I could not describe it because it was just so great. I mean, it was one of the coolest things I'd ever heard, and I love Revenge of the Nerds, and they would actually do a song for their sequel. I just loved it. I even listened to it the other day. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorites. Moving from Nerds, I am going to throw out Night Ranger with The Secret of My Success from The Secret of My Success. Again, this is my favorite Night Ranger song out of their entire library. Just everything about that song, and what was going on in the 80s, business, making money and everything. Working 25 hours a day. That's the way I'm living, 25 hours a day. It's just so great. Michael J. Fox gives a great performance in it, but this song is just as good as the movie is. And for my last one, from 1987, again, it's another weirdie, but it's Honeymoon Suite's Lethal Weapon from Lethal Weapon. When this song came out, this band, Honeymoon Suite, they really weren't heard of before. They made the title track and then, made a couple of other singles, and then that was kind of it. But this song, it's really good. And the music video, shot in black and white, and, you see they have clips from the film in it. But it's a really great song, and I had no idea that Lethal Weapon actually had a title track till I think when Lethal Weapon 4 came out. Now, I just thought someone had just threw that song on there just for shits and giggles. But it's an absolutely great song, and I love it. Now, going from 87 to 88, I have the Beach Boys with Kokomo from Cocktail. This was my first introduction to the Beach Boys. I wasn't born in the 60s. I was born in the late 70s, and the Beach Boys were kind of out by then. So when Cocktail came out and they had that massive soundtrack, the number one song, I guess, off of that soundtrack was Kokomo. And I was like, who is this? And my parents had to tell me who the Beach Boys were. And I was like, my God, this is a great song. And it still resonates to this day. I mean, it's a beach song, sitting on the beach, the wind and the waves and everything. It's a great song. I think they did one more movie song after this, and then that was really kind of it. But this one, I absolutely love this one. I hate the other song that was released on this by Bobby McFerrin. You guys should know what that is. And my last song for 1988, the movie is pure shit, but I absolutely love the title track to the movie. And it's Nobody's Fool from Kenny Loggins from Caddyshack 2. Yes, the movie sucks, but I absolutely love this song. This was the first LP, single LP that I ever bought with my own money. And I literally wore it out to the point where my parents just got sick and tired of hearing it, and they broke it in front of me. Yeah, I wore it out so much. But I love that song. I love the music video where it's kind of shot at night, where they're on the green at Bushwood and the lights are moving around. I love that song. It's my favorite Kenny Loggins song from a movie. And yes, I like it more than I do Footloose and Danger Zone. I got sick of Danger Zone real quick. Now we're moving on to 1989. In 1989, I have Bobby Brown, On Our Own from Ghostbusters 2. I mean, whenever I hear that song, it brings a smile to my face because it takes me back to when you're going to see Ghostbusters 2. I love that song. We have to take this on our own, do it all on our own. I love that song. It fits the Ghostbusters 2 film. It's really great. It's really fun. They had a lot of cameos in the video, and I love it. And my last song from 1989 is Prince, Bat Dance from Batman. As I've said in videos before, Watching Batman on the big screen was the first time I'd experienced pandemonium. I had never experienced anything like that before or since. And Prince doing an entire album just for that movie was just bonkers. I had to have it. And I listened to Bat Dance more than any. I didn't want to listen to any other song on that. Well, I listened to Party Man a couple of times, but it was just Bat Dance because that music video hit at the same time. It was just unbelievable. I loved it. I fell in love with it. I still like it to this day. So that's my 25 plus my honorable mentions. Let me know down in the comments what are your favorite movie songs from the 1980s. And what did you think of my list? Did I get some wrong? I probably did. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. And until next time, what are you watching today?